there once lived deep within an enchanted wood, the likes of which few have seen, a rabbit named Snowdrop. Now, this was a rabbit like any other, except for his fur, which was white as snow. But that's not what makes our tale worth telling. Deep in winter, when all the trees were sleeping, their branches heavy with hoarfrost, and the wind sang songs long forgotten, Snowdrop made his home beneath the boughs of an ancient oak. The old tree was bare, its leaves having fallen long before the first snow, and it stood alone in the middle of a clearing. And Snowdrop liked it there. For one thing, the tree was very big, and he could squeeze between its roots and curl up into a ball to keep nice and warm. For another, he knew that where the tree stood, the sun always shone a little brighter and the snow lay a little less deep than elsewhere in the woods. It had been there for a long time, but he couldn't remember how long exactly because he wasn't always alone. Once upon a time, he had lived in a cozy burrow with his brothers and sisters, and the memory of his mother still brought him comfort. He remembered her soft fur and the gentle thrum of her heart beating against him on cold nights. But then one night, there had been a terrible storm, and when it was over, he had found himself all alone. All around him, the trees were groaning under the weight of snow, and he was too small to dig a new burrow. So he ran away from the danger of falling icicles and hid in crevasses and climbed into the hollow of the oak tree. That's how he survived. But sometimes at night, he would wake up and look up at the sky, and then the wind would start to moan and howl, and he would shiver, knowing that they were looking for him and calling his name. And every morning, when he woke up and the sun was shining, he would think that they had come, that he would soon hear their happy squeals above the murmur of the stream, and that he would feel the warmth of his mother's body before she licked him clean and led him back to her burrow. But every day, the sun would go down again, and with it, the hope that had bloomed in his chest would wither. Many months passed, and the little rabbit grew thin and weak from hunger. The snow lay deep on the ground, and though the oak tree sheltered him from the worst of it, it could not stop the cold from seeping through his rags and making his bones ache. Still, he never gave up hope. He would hop out into the clearing every day, sniffing the wind and listening for any sign of life. And he kept going until one day he saw something lying half buried in the snow. It was a red cloth, just like the one his mother used to tie around her neck. Snowdrop hopped closer, his heart pounding in his chest. He knew that it was just an old rag, probably blown away from some hunter's camp. But for a moment, he allowed himself to believe that his mother had come to look for him. But as the minutes passed and no other rabbits appeared, he slowly lost hope and drooped. As evening fell and the forest grew dark, Snowdrop returned to the hollow of the oak tree. There he curled up, clutching the red cloth in his paws. His eyes closed slowly, and he dreamed of a warm burrow, of his mother's soft fur and the comforting scent of hay. When he awoke, it was to the sound of birds singing. Snowdrop blinked, confused, and looked around. The sun was shining through the leaves of the oak tree, and the red cloth was gone. For a moment, he felt a pang of sadness, as if he had lost something very important. But then he looked up at the sky, and it occurred to him that perhaps they hadn't forgotten him after all. Maybe they had come for him in the night and taken him back to their burrow without him even realizing it. Just maybe. And with that thought in his head, Snowdrop hopped out of the hollow of the oak tree and into the sunlight. The snow had melted, and in its place was a carpet of green. Flowers were blooming, and butterflies fluttered among them. Snowdrop took a deep breath and smiled. They were right. They hadn't forgotten him. And as he skipped through the forest, he knew that he would never be truly alone again.